Hey guys, what's up? I'm the Hissy Missy, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some better morphs than you already can, even though your morphs are already so lovely. I know some of you might be struggling in some areas and would like some tips and tricks to how to make some better areas morphs. So in this video, I'm going to help you guys figure out what you need to do, maybe give you that little push to start making morphs and instead of going and looking for other people to make them for you, because you're all super creative. So throughout this video, I will go over different areas and how to make certain cats with the topic of RiverClan. So this is mainly going to be making RiverClan cats, such as a Turkish van, which, well, it's kind of going to go over calicos and tortoise shells, and in the Russian blue section, it's going to go more over fading and how to do that, because it's a pretty big important part. My gosh. Norwegian Forest Cat is just basically going to be a combination of all of them. And by the end of it, you all should know how to make a pretty good morph, and you can make all your own things. Maybe it can be not even realistic, it can be just your own OC, it could be anything you want. So, let's get started. Oh dang, my cat just knocked down my glass of water. Okay guys, so for the first one, we're starting off with the Turkish van, which is basically a white cat, I'd say short to medium furred, that's has some orange striped areas like splotches or something, but it doesn't cover the entire cat like an orange tabby would. So it's just white and then some orange painted on with some stripes. It does not cover the whole cat, so we're going to be getting into that. Do note you do not have to follow my steps exactly. You can make it however you want. I would love it if you used your own creativity, because what I like may not be what you like or what you prefer. So to begin with, I normally like to go over to the editing area rather than doing colors first. So there's not really anything for ears. You can choose whatever lashes you like. I won't be using any. I'm going to start with a cat mask because, well, it kind of fits well with the markings on the actual cat, but you can use whatever else you'd like. Possibly a dual mask with some stripes is another form, but a bit longer. So you can do whatever you want, or you could just make the whole face white. But this is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm also going to go down and I'm going to grab some under eye round and some van markings, because it's a Turkish van cat and I believe there's van markings somewhere on there. So yeah, but you can use whatever you guys would like. Hold on, my cat is tweaking. Okay, so I go ahead and just kind of put the cat mask on. And for the fur, it's really more of a medium furred cat, to be honest. So you don't have to make it like extremely fluffy or like barely fluffy, just whatever you prefer. Really, I'm gonna go ahead and preview some of the things. Take a good look and think, what is your style, and maybe think about the personality of the cat you're making and how you want it to be. Maybe the fur is a little more ruffled because they're more of a wild or adventurous cat. Maybe it's a bit more neat. I'm gonna be using the fluffy belly fur because it gives you that look like a cat just came out of the water in RiverClan after fishing, and it's a little soaked and it's still dripping down a bit. But you guys can use whatever you want. I'm also going to add some outwards head fur, throat fur, some stuff. I'm going to use some ear fur, under ear fur, to make some nice little peel. For the tail, I'm going to make it fluffy because the actual cat's tail seemed quite fluffy, but not like really, really fluffy, like a plum tail or something even fluffier, nor short. So now is for the torso. It's more of kind of like a just random splotch somewhere, or splotches, depending on which one. It can be different for each cat. So this could mean like a saddle marking with stripes, or a rear one with stripes, or just a couple striped splotches. I'm going to go over all those different scenarios, how you can make it, but I think I'm going to stick with the rear striped for my first example. Then I'll move on to the saddle striped, how you can make that, and finally the splotches. So if you're doing something else rather than the rear stripes, don't worry, just hang in there a bit. All right, so now we're getting into, color, really. So the colors is like I put already for the secondary palette, which is basically just the underbelly. It's mainly just white with orange. Now, there's a lot of different colors in the game, so I normally have a hard time picking, so I normally go through and find which color suits best, because each color looks different colors. Each color is a different color, and they're all different and unique and can add a different style to your cat. So I'm going to be using this color. You can choose whatever color you like, darker, lighter, whatever it be. There's no certain color. Just needs to be somewhat orange. So I'm going to add a couple different styles to it to make it a little different, not that much for each side. So you can look at it, you might not see it, but it might just add that feeling of vibrance and just more of cat and a fade. You can do whatever you want. You can make it both the same color for both sides. You can make it different colors, darker, lighter. You can make it like completely different colors, like really dark, really bright. Whatever you want fits. I'm just using a slight color change because I feel like it'll tie in nicely with the rest of this cat breed, especially since it's more similar to just kind of being splotched and, that kind of randomness thing. So that's going to go ahead for the face, and that's going to be kind of like the colors I'm going to use. Now, here's a really big part, especially when you're making like calicos and tortoise shells, all that kinds of cats. Normally if you just put the cat mask, it would look kind of plain. No offense, but like there's a lot of people using that and there's not much else. So normally what I suggest to do is maybe grab something else, like maybe an eye splotch and tie it in with the color, like what I'm doing here. Maybe you could grab a point mask or some other mask and you could use it to tie in, but not make the entirety of the thing completely orange. But I'm going to be using the eye splotch because it kind of makes the left side go down a bit more, with a bit, seeing it like there's a bit of a bigger, big circle splotch that's striped as if the left side is like kind of taken over by the orange, and the right is white and also orange. You can do whatever you want. You can maybe make that white so the right side has more orange and the left doesn't. Or you could not do anything. Or you could use a different marking if you feel comfortable and confident, which please feel confident in your work, because I have never seen a single morph in my life that I've ever been like, dang, that's ugly. I've always been like, dang, that's beautiful. So go ahead, be yourself. Don't be afraid to express yourself. Nobody's really going to judge you for that. They're just going to compliment me. Believe me, I know. So I'm just going to be tying in these oranges and adding it to the left to make it more of an orange and slightly different colors, so it has that kind of fade and nice, flow to the whole morph. That looks really pretty. So I'm just trying to figure out which colors I want to use. Now, you don't have to follow my steps exactly. I would not like you to follow my steps exactly. I want you to do what you want to do, but whatever is fine. So just kind of tie in the orange together. You can use other things, like you can use possibly like a cat mask and just make the whole top orange and the bottom white. You could use cheeks to the same thing, just make the cheeks white. You can use point mask, you can use mask, a face mask, you can use whatever you like. Nobody's going to be judging you. Or you could do, as I suggested in the beginning of the video, just a dual mask with stripes for a more longer splotched, and then maybe some cheeks or something else like that to keep it all white. Or you could just make the whole face entirely orange. But I'm going to make it only partly orange. This is based off my references. So there's a lot of eye colors for this cat. It can be from like yellowish hazel to a blue to a greenish, or it could even be one eye blue, one eye green. You can do whatever you want. There's a lot of colors to choose from, so the same goes for the skin colors. I try to match them the best as I can, and so normally that takes me a bit to try to find the right color. So I'm going through them, and I'm looking, and I'm thinking, and I'm picking which one I want to be the best color that I feel like fits the cat that I'm trying to make, and the morph I'm trying to make, and what I'm trying to express. Maybe yours would be darker or lighter, whatever fits you. That's going to be the main thing. Alright, so I think my rear marking disappeared, my rear cape. My rear cape disappeared somewhere. So I'm going to be doing this one splotch. In the back of it, it's going to be like the only orange on the torso so far is going to be this orange right here. So I'm going to extend it a bit since the stripes are a little extended as well. So it looks somewhat like this, and I'll just grab the color from here for the head stripes and some other stuff and pull those colors that I've been using over here and then just add the stripes. And there you go. This is more of a rear striped area, so that looks really nice and really pretty. And just gonna go ahead and make the tail, grab the stripe color and some other colors and make the tail a little striped. So I'm gonna add now what I'm gonna do might be a little unfamiliar, so I'm gonna get rid of the fluffy tail so I can use this streak. In the actual cat, it's kinda, some of it, there's like some white poking out from the base of the tail. So I put on tail fluff, and if you look very closely, there's some white poking out. So yeah, that's just a little trick I like to do sometimes on some tails that are like that, because yeah, I can. Anyways, just a neat little trick. Another thing a lot of people like, and personally I think it's a really cute idea too, is to make like one paw completely orange or one paw completely different color. It's a really cute design too. Just gonna mess around real quick. You could also make it like this, or like the orange leans more to one side, and you can do other things. Okay, so now I'm going to be moving on how to make more of a saddle marking. So really just saddle marking, I believe it's called that, not keep stripes, stripes, and there we go. My mistake. Just a saddle marking, and you can do this for a lot of other things, is just make it entirely, the rest of it fade into the whole color scheme, which is white, so you can't even tell there's stripes there. And there we go. More stripes there. I'm actually going to take the colors from the tail and make the stripes right here. Okay, hold on, let me just get that one piece. There we go. And then I'm going to grab that color and I'm going to use it to make the saddle marking, which is kind of in the middle of the body. I'm going to grab that color. Like I said, I'm going to add a bit of a fade, a little bit of a flow, color change, and this is basically a middle saddle, which is one way you can do it. You could also do it striped splotches, which is basically just big splotches with stripes that go across the whole body. So let me just fix that real quick. And striped splotches. Here we go. And let me just remove the saddle. Get it out of here somewhere. Anyways. So just the same for the stripes, you grab some white and remove however much you want. There's not really generally, like, the whole cat isn't taking over for the Turkish fan. It's only partially, so I'm going to remove a ton. You can choose whatever splotches you want to stay on your cat. They could be anywhere, there could be multiple, there could be only one. I'm going to keep together those two right there for my example, but this can be anywhere in the body. Can be on the legs, you can only have one, you can have a ton, just not crazy amount. But now I'm just going to add some different colors and then add on the stripes. So there's a slight color difference, and there you go. A Turkish cat. You know? So you can do stripes dark splotches, you can do the saddle marking, the rear stripes. Okay, that kind of got deleted a bit. That's okay. But you can do anything. You can even do a combination. Maybe you want to do saddle marking, just this splotch, and then maybe other splotches around, or maybe the rear with splotches. You can do whatever you want to do. You can do a combination. You can do neither nor. I'm going to make that a little darker. And you can do whatever you want. Yep, you can do any of these choices. Now, my preference would be, fix that. My preference would be to have one of these front feet orange as a cute little detail. And I would prefer to have a rear marking, but then again, you could have no markings like this, and it could just be that foot, or maybe you don't even have a foot. So, yeah, that will wrap it up for the Turkish fan. Crazy. Now, we're going to be doing a Russian blue. This is going to be how to create a Russian blue, which is kind of, as the name states, a sleek blue-ish cat. Well, not actually blue. That would be really crazy, but it looks like a bluish gray or a bluish black or a bluish white. Depends on the kind of cat you're gonna create. Okay, so to begin with, there's not much for ears. Same goes for eyes, lashes, if you want them or not. Now, there isn't really any stripes in this cat, but I'm going to be saving these markings in for a fade later on. Since a Russian, not blushing, I was trying to say Russian and blue at the same time, and it came out as blushing. Well, oh well, you get what I was trying to say, right? Anyways, so in a Russian blue, it's not really any markings, so the whole thing is just the colors. And you could just slap on one solid color and call it a day, but if you take the time to really add the fade and the detail, it'll come out a lot better, since that is the main focus. This goes for a lot of other cats that are single colored. So I like to use cape and single body stripe to help create a fade, and I'll show you how to implement that into your morph to make it look beautiful. Right now it kind of looks kind of crazy because there isn't any colors. So you want to kind of go up to, let me go up to this color palette. You kind of want to choose from this section as it's a bluish, grayish, whitish, blackish colors. And just kind of go through all the colors until you find which one you want. You don't have to use the same color as I'm using. This is the one I found the closest to the actual cat that I like the best, that looked the best for me, my preference. So go ahead and start off with making the whole cape that color, and also the tail that color. Now there's a couple fades you can do. So the first one is going to be basically kind of dark to light. So you grab a dark color, then you grab the main color, you make it a little bit lighter, rise it up a bit like I'm doing, and then you do the torso, I think. Then you do a little more, and then you do the body stripe and the legs, shoulders, just below the cape. And then you do the legs again. You kind of get what I'm trying to say. Just go from dark to brighter for each section. And then there isn't really any white in this cat, so just make the underbelly and stuff and soles like that. Another fade you can do is kind of a mix. So it goes the main color, then a little bit lighter, then a little bit lighter, and then a little bit darker, and then the main color again, which is the darkest color for me. So it'll look somewhat like this, which is kind of really nice. This is the one I'll be using as really my preference. You can choose whichever of the two you like. There is also a bird, which is pretty much the same. It's just the opposite of dark to light. Instead, you start with the lightest color at the top and you go down to the darkest color. You can do this by just easily going up a little bit in your slider or going down, or you could divide the whole slider into different sections. Sorry, my microphone went off for a moment. Anyways, this is also the light to dark version. It's basically just the original fade I showed you, but reversed. Whichever one you'd prefer. Some people might prefer the dark to light to dark to light to dark. I'm going to be using dark to light to dark. It's kind of confusing to say, but once you get the hang of it, you'll understand. You can also do a different fade. Right now I'm just changing the colors of the sole and the tail, so the soles look a little bit darker, like in some cats, which I believe is tabbies and spotted tabbies and other cats. So I figured I'd use that here, just a little detail. You can make it lighter, darker, however you want it to look, whatever you prefer. So now you kind of got the fade in, and it should be looking the way you want it to. If it isn't, but you aren't sure, just mess around a bit till it looks good. Now for the face. Now this is kind of tricky. So you're probably confused on what I'm doing here because I have like cheeks and then I have the cat mask, but it's basically a fade for the face. I'm just making the stripes and the rest of the mask the same color, so you can't really tell the stripes there. And it's just a bit of a fade. I'm also making kind of like the point and the muzzle a bit lighter, like in the actual cats that I've seen. Also gonna make those muzzle pads a little darker. So your fade can be however you want. There wasn't really any certain strategy I followed for this face fade. It was just really whatever I felt fit best, and it came out nice. Now I'm just going to make the perfect nose color, because then again, I need it to be perfect, but it doesn't really need to be perfect. I just like it. I'm just a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm just gonna go through a lot of these nose colors till I find the right one. Okay, that one's probably good. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the eye color. This is kind of like a greenish right here in these areas, but it can also be like a bit of a bluish, greenish. Not sure, just going through a ton of colors here and seeing what they are, but it's more of a greenish. And it can also be like a green, or you can go down to the more hazel area and make it darker, so it's more of a hazily green. It's very light and faded. That will look somewhat like this. I'm also gonna fix that real quick. All right, so now I'm just gonna make the whisker a little darker, well, whiskers. And there we go. This is looking really nice, and it's coming out really well. Okay. So yeah, this is my Russian blue. Now take a look at yours. Ask yourself the question, does this fade? Does this meet what I'm trying to create? And do I personally like this? Now I'm gonna add some fur really quickly. This is more of a medium to short-haired. I'm gonna make mine more short-haired, and I'm gonna preview a couple of these furs, see which one I like. So there's a long fur, there's just normal throat fur, and neck fur. There's a whole mane if you want to do, but that may be a little too fluffy, if you ask me. What do you like? Some people like short furs, short furs, medium furs, long furs, and I'm just gonna make mine completely hairless. Well, it doesn't have fur on it. So now that we've gone through how to make a Russian blue and the fade for it, I'm going to go ahead and give you an example for a Norwegian Forest Cat. Now, these are the fluffy ones, and for this one, I will warn you, I will be using game passes, which everybody might not have. These are a couple examples of some of the Norwegian Forest-based cats that I haven't really used much reference based on a single cat to create. You can also use your own cat as a reference, if you have a cat, that is. Alright, so to begin with, I'm going to be showing you guys how to tie in both of the things I've gone over so far, if you've seen that, and turning it into one beautiful cat. So I'm going to add some ear tufts, I think. Check. reference right now, inspecting it to make sure I got everything I need to. You can use whatever you want as reference. Maybe just a picture online. Maybe your own cat. Maybe somebody else's morph. Oh, nope. I need ear tufts. Get in back here. Okay. Then again, not using lashes. So for the head pattern, really markings, I am still deciding myself on specifically what I want to use for this. Because for the Norwegian Forest Cat I'm making, it's going to be an orange one. So in the one reference I'm looking at, that I'm going based off of, it's like white, and then it's like all like half of the face, the bottom part of the face is white, and the top half is orange. So I'm really just gonna think about how I want to use that and what I can use to make that appearance, since we don't really have any specific markings for that. So this is what I have so far. These cats are also very fluffy. I'm going to be using the Fur Bundles Pass, so you might not have that. And if you guys want to, you can check out my first bundle review, which can help you decide if you're still deciding, do I want to get this pass or not? Is it worth my money? Which will be linked in the description if you are interested. There is also a lot of furs in the game, and you can combine a lot of furs for some reason. I'm not sure if that's a glitch or not. Probably wasn't supposed to be there. And don't mind that flash on the screen. You didn't see anything. Anyways, just gonna scan through all these, because there's a lot of different furs. I think I'm gonna be going with the layered mane, and I might be using the spiky head fur. This is my preference. Yours could be different, but I think that's what I'm gonna use. The tail, I might use a thick plum tail. Might use fluffy one. I'll decide a bit later. Add some soles. I might need those. And so I'm gonna have to think about the kind of markings I'm gonna use for this, because it's kind of like stripes but thicker, and it's like on the topmost part of the cat, like a cape, but it's kind of goes a bit lower than that. So I'm just gonna look for all these markings and try to find out which one looks most like the reference I'm using. It's kind of like stripes, but then they're like really thick. I might go with braided stripes. You might go with something else. You might go with plain stripes because you might not own it. You might go with swirls or something else entirely different than stripes. But you really got to think about what you're going to use. It's not really just what that thing is meant to be used for in certain breeds, but can be used in terms of something else when making this, when making your morphs, which is good information to have in mind. So I'm gonna go look through some colors. There's a lot of oranges, and I'm gonna find the right one for me. Now, in making a morph, I suggest you feel really passionate about this morph, and if it's like, oh, I have to make a cat and I don't really want to make it, but I have to make it, don't make it then. If you don't want to make it, then you don't have to make it. Maybe you have to make it for like a roleplay or something. Then make it your own style. Change it up a bit. It doesn't have to look exactly how something else does, or how it's quote unquote supposed to look. It can look however you want it to, because hey, you're gonna be using this cat, right? Unless you're making this for a friend or something. Anyways, so I'm gonna do a quick fade. I'm going to do a light to dark fade, I believe. Actually, I think I might. Yeah, I think this is what I'm gonna use. I'm going to keep the bottom white because, like I said, it's kind of like the top bit is orange and the bottom bit isn't. The belly, I'm gonna keep the belly, underbelly fluff white, and then I'm gonna go through the tail. I think the tail's a little different than what I'm using. I think I'm gonna go with the tail fluff because it looks like how I want it to look. But you can use either. You can use none, whatever you want. So, okay, so I have my fade in. I'm gonna put in a bit of color into the mane, top part of the mane, and I'm going to add my braided stripes back. I forgot to mention I moved them away earlier. Well, took them off because they were kind of cluttersome and it'd be really hard to make the cape. So feel free to take away any markings while you're making the fade because it can make it difficult with them still there. But maybe it makes it easier for you. So, like I said, I'm just going to use the same dark stripe color for both of it to create this kind of really dark, thick stripes instead of using two different in a cat such as a tiger. You can also use normal stripes such as these ones. They aren't nearly as thick, but I'm sure they look just fine too. So that would be an example of what that would look like. Okay, moving on to the face. This is gonna get a little bit complicated, so I'm gonna mess around with this a bit and the different combinations I can make. Like I said, I want it to be like the bottom half is white, the top half is orange. So I'm seeing how I can make that in. A caped mask is basically kind of like that, but I don't think there's anything else I can use. So spray nose, blaze, caped mask, and most likely one of these with just normal stripes. To make this, just gonna check if there's anything else I can make and add the cat mask and see if that looks good with less stripes not going down to the trick mask. That kind of looks like a anyways, I think I'm just gonna use the cape mask, which is a game pass. You can use something else since not everybody has that. Anyways, now I'm just going to go through and make that white. And now I'm going to go through skin colors, see till I find the perfect one. That's to be perfect. So you can use whatever you want. There's tons of combinations out there that you can use, and I mean, the game's pretty big. There's a lot of different things you can create. No one morph looks identical to each other, unless you just kind of grab that morph and give it to another person and look identical and change it. But if you ignore that, then nobody's morph looks exactly like each other's. I'm actually gonna make this. I'm gonna make the leg a little, the entirety of the legs white, and it'll look like this. It'll be a bit thicker, longer than a cape. Okay, just don't mind that. That's just testing something. And I'm gonna change up the tail a bit. And this is kind of my Norwegian Forest Cat that I created. So yeah. You can also, this is another example of a cat I've made. It is based off of a Norwegian Forest Cat, a brown version. I just used stripes and then I used a brindle, an alternating brindle to make this pattern. And this is supposedly one of my RiverClan cat morphs that I'll be using. Funny thing is I put that white paw there on accident and then it just became a thing. And you can create morphs just like this. You can even make that same thing, just different color, more of a silvery gray. You can make a lot of things with this knowledge. If you know what you're doing and you're happy with it, you can make anything you want. I mean, those are 3 different cats, but they're all based off of a Norwegian Forest Cat, or for the 2 examples that we didn't create together were based off of a Maine Coon. Well, that's kind of going to wrap up this video, and it's been a long time since I've used my voice in one of these videos. Normally it's just caption, but I thought for this video you'd have to really pay attention to what I was doing on screen and then also reading the caption. So if you want to see more videos like this where I'm actually talking to you guys while you're watching the video, then leave a like and subscribe. And so yeah, there's a lot to making morphs, and there's a lot I haven't generally gone over, and there's a lot I could do better next time. And now you're probably asking, next time? If this video gets 36 likes, as soon as it does, I'll start working on another video, but it'll be a different edition. Maybe ThunderClan edition, WindClan edition, ShadowClan edition, could be any. And there's a lot I didn't go over. And so I'll be putting that in the possible next video. Just smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and just keep trying.